Soundstage 20 on our right is where we're doing construction work for the set of Matinee, a movie which stars John Goodman and also stars Kathy Moriarty. This is where we also filmed portions of Parenthood, starring Steve Martin, Mary Steenburgen, and Jason Robards. It was the very first feature film we did on our lot. This is where we also filmed the television series Superforce. Now, upcoming on our right is Building 22, and these are the executive offices. This is where the executive producers, casting directors, the arts department, and the set designers keep their offices. These are the people who are involved in the pre-production or the planning stages of movie making keep their offices. Once cameras get rolling, though, there's a number of people who work behind the scenes, the people we never get to see. But to the right, this is where they park their vehicles. Wow, hold the excitement down. We also have a number of vendors who occupy our front lot, including Eastern Costumes Company, Panavision Cameras and Lighting Company, and Century 3 Post-Production. In post-production, this is where the editors look for any bloopers. Sometimes, though, they overlook those bloopers, and we get to see them anyway. For example, Parenthood is supposed to take place in St. Louis, Missouri, and portions of Orlando are supposed to double for St. Louis. But in one scene, as Steve Martin and Mary Steenburgen are driving down the freeway, a sign can be seen saying, Florida Turnpike, 1 mile. I guess they overlooked that one. Now, sometimes a producer will need extras or background talent to fill a scene, and we also have Extras Express, a vendor on our front lot who provides that extra talent for us. Another vendor on the lot is Greenery Productions, and they provide all the trees and flowers for our movies, our television shows, as well as our studios. And to the left here, this is the swamp that they constructed for the season of Swamp Thing, which airs on the USA Cable Network, and it's based upon the DC Comics character. Now, many varieties of trees have been planted in this swamp because we want it to look as authentic as possible. This is where the exterior, the outside shots are filmed. But being that this is Florida, it could probably start raining at a moment's notice. And when that happens, we can't stop production. So what the director and the crew will do then, they'll move all the action inside of the soundstage. So to our right, inside of soundstage 24, this is where the set designers and Greenery Productions have rebuilt portions of the swamp to accommodate those weather changes and those noise changes. Well, here to the left, this is the Ghostbusters Ectomobile, which is responsible for the noise and the songs that you'll hear on our lot. This is used for a show called Beetlejuice Dead in Concert, in which the Ghostbusters are featured. To our right is our Soundstage 23. And this is where we take the PBS special called Conan the Librarian. A public service announcement about using your public library, and where we also take the multimedia showcase called the Karaoke Showcase. It's about the karaoke craze that has hit the country. We're now headed on to the other portion of the studio, the Backlot. And this is where our points of interest and our attractions are located. As we enter onto the Backlot, to the right, you'll see a gated area called the Boneyard. This is where we keep remnants of Hollywood history, including the buggy from Gone with the Wind, the chariot from Ben-Hur, and the fire engine from It's a Mad, 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 Mad World. We also have a number of other props, but we're going to come back this way a little bit later, and I can take more time out to talk about them. Right now, though, we're headed into our New York backlot, and as we do, in the center there is a recreation of New York's famous Gramercy Park. Once again, our vendor Greenery Productions did provide all the trees and flowers in this park. Take a look, though, at those brownstones on Park Avenue, though, across the street. The one at the right with the red awning, that's the turret from The Sting, starring Paul Newman and Robert Redford. And second from the right with the green shutters where that yellow taxi cab is, that's the Huxtable residence from the Cosby Show. On our left, you'll see the Ghostbusters logo and the New York skyline in Guggenheim Museum. Now these are completely flat billboards, but they're painted in a process called forced perspective, which is used to give the optical illusion of depth. It was a technique first used by Hitchcock on the set of Rear Window. Also on the left is a recreation of Macy's, as modeled from the movie A Miracle on 34th Street, starring Natalie Wood. And next to this, you'll see a recreation of the Pennsylvania station, as seen in the Hitchcock film Strangers on a Train. This is also our King Kong attraction. King Kong is 32 feet high, 56 feet wide, weighs 12,000 pounds, and breathes banana breath. Well, as we continue down Fifth Avenue, we're in a recreation of Manhattan's Lower East Side, reminiscent of the 1930s and 40s. Now, the reason I keep saying a recreation is because the buildings we're looking at aren't real buildings. Well, what do I mean? Well, these buildings are called facades, which is a French term meaning false front. Would you believe that these buildings are actually made of styrofoam? They're covered with a weathering material called Dryvit, which protects them from the elements. And then, to give them the illusion they're old and weathered looking, the art department has taken dirt and rust-colored paint onto them. To give you an idea of how meticulous the art department is, they've even gone through the trouble of painting on the bird droppings onto the posts here at the waterfront. But if I were you, I wouldn't try to distinguish which ones are real and which ones have been painted on. Now, speaking of water, this is the centralized section of the studio. We have other backlots around the lagoon, including in our San Francisco backlot. We have our earthquake attraction. And if you take a look to the far left across the lagoon where all those flags are billowing, this is the World Expo Center. This is where we hold our Back to the Future attraction, our E.T. adventure, which Steven Spielberg said he would never make a sequel to E.T. Instead, he wants this attraction to be the sequel. And then next to that is the Psycho House. Now, what do you think we call the road leading up to the Psycho House? Well, of course, we call it the Psycho Path. And then, thank you. And then next to the Psycho Path is the Hard Rock Cafe. Okay, I've got another one for you. What do we call the road leading up to the Hard Rock Cafe? We call it the Rocky Road. Thank you. And it's open until 2 o'clock in the morning. Then behind that, you're going to see some construction going on. We're constructing Fievel Playland. It's based upon the movie Fievel Goes West and An American Tale, where once you walk in, you're shrunk down to the size of a mouse. On our right, this is our Murder, She Wrote Mystery Theater. And in this attraction, you are the executive producer, and we put together a Murder, She Wrote episode. Ahead of you, you'll see Mel's Drive-In from the George Lucas classic American Graffiti. Many of the superstars we know today lost their careers in films, including Richard Dreyfuss, Harrison Ford, and Suzanne Summers. George Lucas wrote the screenplay.
Well, I tell you what, folks, you're in for a real treat right now because, well, you see, I'm going to introduce the prettiest member of the Hollywood High Toast to you right now. And of course, you know what I'm talking about. The lovely, the talented Salvador Alvarez. Thank you very much. Photo opportunity.
The Hollywood High Toast have many shows throughout the day, so check your brochure for showtime. Well, speaking of Hollywood, we're entering into our Hollywood backlot, and as we do, to the left is the Pantages Theater. A Hollywood, oh, and also it's Popeye in the boat over there. You know, he's giving out autographs today. At the Pantages Theater, this is where the Academy Awards were held from 1943 to 1953. This is where we hold our gory, gruesome, grotesque, horror makeup shows, so you can learn the makeup tricks, the special effects that they use in those slasher type films. Well, if you want to see the stars, just look down on both sides of the street on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. We have 56 stars on our lot, including Kirk Douglas, who was the most recent recipient of the Lifetime Achievement Award presented by the American Film Institute. To your left there, you see the Blues Mobile with the Blues Brothers in it. Are they FBI? No, they're musicians. Based upon the film directed by John Landis. That's Jake and Elwood Blues. And don't forget Mabel. How could I forget you, Mabel, honey? Now, other sites you'll see upon our Walk of Fame include Schwab's Drugstore, which was a popular Hollywood hangout during the silver screen era. You'll see Charlie Chaplin here as he walks in front of Schwab's Drugstore with his black derby. Oh, and speaking of derby hats, well, here's our Brown Derby Hat Shop, which is modeled after the Brown Derby Restaurant, a very famous Hollywood restaurant during the silver screen era. It was founded by an ex-husband of silent film star Gloria Swanson. You film buffs may remember Gloria Swanson from the film Sunset Boulevard, in which she portrayed a fading silent screen star and William Holden portrayed a screenwriter. The classic line from the film is when he says to her, "Hey, you used to be big," and she replies, "I'm still big, it's the pictures that got small." Well, if you'd like to collect small pictures and memorabilia of your day, please shop at Silver Screen Collectibles here on our right. They have a whole array of Lucille Ball memorabilia and also souvenirs you'd like to collect for the day. Take a look, though, at the green marble on Silver Screen. Here's the ant on the right. It isn't green marble at all. We told you. It's actually polished fiberglass, and the different shades of green paint have been painted in such a way as to give it a marbleized look. See, the trick is, folks, it only has to appear authentic to the camera. It doesn't have to be authentic. If you want to learn more about camera tricks and movie making, or if you want to see glamour in action, look to your right. You'll see Miss Mae West. A beautiful blonde. She stands in front of Alfred Hitchcock, the art of making movies. Hitchcock directed 53 films in his career and always preferred to cast a blonde as his leading lady because he said blood shows up more vividly on a blonde than it does on a brunette. My goodness. Well, to the left here in big red letters, this is the fantastic world of Hanna-Barbera. A very exciting ride where you board a spaceship and you go zooming through a state-of-the-art cartoon with Shaggy, Scooby-Doo, Yogi Bear, Boo-Boo, and the Jetsons. Well, hey, Boo-Boo, we're back by the Boneyard. And those zoom-in vehicles are from a TV pilot called Road Raiders, which was a takeoff of Mad Max Beyond the Thunderdome. The dinosaur molding was used in the animated feature The Land Before Time, and the 90-foot Bigfoot is from the movie Harry and the Hendersons. One of the most outstanding props we have in the Boneyard is a 25-foot shark that was used in the movie Jaws 3 and has the nickname Bruce, nicknamed after Steven Spielberg's attorney because he thought it's a professional courtesy to name one shark after another one. Yep. And the most recent acquisition to the Boneyard is this houseboat here that was used in Cape Fear, starring Robert De Niro, Nick Nolte, and Jessica Lange. That's just one of the movies we have out right now. Also playing is The Babe, starring John Goodman as baseball great Babe Ruth, and it co-stars Kelly McGillis. Well, John Goodman is on our lot this week filming a movie called Matinee. It's a 60s piece, a period piece, takes place during the 60s, and it's about the Cuban Missile Crisis. And this is being filmed inside of our soundstage 21, which you'll see here to the right. This is our largest soundstage. This is where we also filmed portions of Psycho for the Beginning and The Adventures of Superboy, which airs on the USA Cable Network. But as I said now, we're filming the movie Matinee. It's directed by Joe Dante, who also directed Gremlins for Steven Spielberg's Amblin production. Now, the facilities you see out here include the makeup trailers, the wardrobe trailers, the hairdressing trailers, and the actors' dressing rooms. It stars, well, as I said, John Goodman. It also stars Kathy Moriarty, whose credits include Kindergarten Cop with Arnold Schwarzenegger and The Ballroom Scene with Armando Sante. Well, we're coming back upon Nickelodeon territory once again, and Nickelodeon Studios does offer a tour of the inside of their facilities. If you'd like to learn what goes on inside of a soundstage, you'll learn about set design, TV production, and then at the conclusion of the tour, participate in Game Lab. Game Lab gives kids and grown-ups the chance to play the games from Double Dare. And once the tour. We'll even get lines. If this sounds like your cup of tea, the line forms here on the right. Right now, though, we're at the conclusion of our tour, so please don't forget your personal belongings. Kids, don't forget your parents, because parents have a way of getting lost. And if you have any questions, I'd be more than happy to answer them. On behalf of our driver, Crash, and myself, Regina, thank you for visiting us here at Universal Studios, Florida.